incredibly busy weather map. Anyone want to go out the door and do some weather and more? Come on, let's go. Anybody? Let's go. The weather's changing by the second out there. It was sunny, then it was cloudy, now it's sunny again, and it's getting windy. Definitely need the noise canceling microphone this morning. So you might not be able to hear the flagpole rack. I can hear the cables against the masts on the sailboats out there. This day has changed so dramatically already. It's 7 o'clock on Friday, June 20th. I was up at 5:20 looking off to the east on Solstice Day sunrise, the northernmost position of the sun relative to the rest of the year. Solstice. It's Latin. Sol means the sun. Stice means stop. The sun stops getting higher in the sky on the day of the solstice. Southern hemisphere, it's the winter solstice. Sun stops getting lower in the sky. And the tilt of the earth starts making the sun appear lower in the sky every day. And some people call it the countdown to ski season. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Boy, has it changed. A big cloud just blew through here a short time ago. And that was sort of the cold air comes in waves, just like you see the air, the waves on the grass right there. We had an initial front with all those thunderstorms yesterday, then a push of cooler air overnight, and then this morning even cooler and windy weather coming in now. When I say cool, I mean it's 70 degrees, but we're not going for 90 today. 92 in Boston yesterday. The regional roundup this morning, before the air started moving around, the dew points, I think, are the most notable aspect of the drier air coming in, with a dew point in the 50s now in western New England and New York. Well, now, that was much earlier in the day. And still a dew point of 70 in southern Rhode Island this morning, but that's moving out. So we have dry air advection, and technically it is colder air. Good morning, crew. I can't remember the name. Tree of Life boat. So serious wind today in New England is the story. There's a wind advisory in effect. Why don't we check the national advisories, watches, and warnings? A huge section of the country there in a heat warning from Minnesota south to Iowa, a heat watch in Pennsylvania, that darker red. The light brown in New England is a wind advisory for today. And then on the opposite side of the nation, we have a winter storm warning in effect in Montana on the first day of summer. That is unusual. For a foot of snow, just above 5,000 feet at Glacier National Park, and winter weather advisories in much of western Montana. So you've got the extreme of the heat and you've got the extreme of the chill. And we have extreme features on the map, which was going to generate weather that is unpredictable. We're going to have to call the play-by-play. This whole week I've been talking about the Saturday night potential derecho or mesoscale convective complex. It's still too tough to call. I looked at the guidance from the Severe Storm Prediction Center for our Sunday, and I read that there are a lot of moving parts, but there is a chance for some severe weather here either Sunday morning and or Sunday afternoon. And so that's a moving target. And we look back at some historic derecho, and a lot of people remember what happened 30 years ago in July of 1995. It was an early morning, and the wind gusted past 80 miles an hour on Blue Hill. It was a long-lived derecho that formed near Lake Superior and made its way to Cape Cod overnight on the 14th and 15th, over the top of some incredibly hot air. And so we're going to have some incredibly hot air, and we're going to have a batch of thunderstorms coming at us on Saturday night and Sunday. But before we get to that part, here's the wind picking up by the second. See, as the sun gets higher in the sky and it heats up the land, and you get the mixing, so the wind from up in the sky can mix down as the low pressure system to our north is very strong. It's a 990 4, I think it was, this morning in northern Maine. The satellite image first thing this morning, right as the sun was coming up, showed one towering cumulonimbus cloud there just west of Mount Katahdin in central Maine, and you can make out the circulation. And so that powerful storm is lifting out, so wind is picked up rapidly across all of New England today. There was the radar showing that one thunderstorm in central Maine. Now let's go to the NAM and do the play-by-play. Starting with this morning, there's that 994 low on top. This backlash comes with some clouds and showers at the Canadian border. And the isobars, the black lines, very close together. Wind is air moving from high pressure to our west into that low that's taking off from Maine. And you see those red numbers going down, 564, 558. So technically cold air advection. And thankfully it's very dry. Otherwise we would end up with thunderstorms because it's so unstable today, with the temperature still in the 80s in southern New England, but up in the sky it's falling through the 40s, even into the 30s aloft in northern New England with those showers that are going away. Tonight it looks pretty nice, and then tomorrow it's a quiet looking map, but it's going to be subtle features. Warm front's going to try and be coming back at us, and the temperature's going to rebound into the 80s, and the dew point's still going to be in the 50s tomorrow. So quite a beautiful day, a lovely day. And time out from that, the tall ship Lynx is going to be part of a Bunker Hill. It's been going on now for more than a week. The 250th acknowledgement of a battle. I don't know what to call it. I shouldn't call it a ceremony or a celebration, but a reenactment. Last weekend there was the Bunker Hill area in Charlestown, but you can't fit all the tall ships in Charlestown, so the tall ships are in Gloucester. Lynx made its way from Nantucket to Gloucester. There was the sunset last evening with a beautiful sunset and dinner on the deck in Gloucester. And today, I don't know if there's any sailing happening, almost too windy. I shouldn't say that. Captain Peacock will get mad at me, but tomorrow's going to be beautiful for that. Tomorrow morning, first gun from Tall Ship Lynx at about 8:30 in the morning, and there's going to be a reenactment in Gloucester if you're in the neighborhood. It should be a gorgeous day. And now let's pick, a beautiful Saturday. Yes, we said it, a beautiful Saturday, but not a rain-free weekend in New England. It's been 15, 16 weeks since we've had one of those. Pick this NAM back up there. Tomorrow afternoon, there's a little tiny cell there right over Rhode Island at about 5 o'clock. A thunderstorm is possible, so just a hit or miss, mostly miss thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon. 99% of us are going to have a dry, beautiful Saturday. And then it's Saturday night. This is the problem. Here comes a bowing echo of rain and thunder and wind out of Ontario into Quebec. And it's such a moving target, but there may be severe thunderstorm warnings going off in the middle of the night tomorrow night at midnight. That system, it looks like it's kind of disjointed there with part of it going across Maine. And then during Sunday morning there around 15Z, that's about 11 o'clock in the morning, there's a bow echo coming across southern New Hampshire, and that may or may not be part of a mesoscale convective complex, which may or may not have winds gusting past 60 miles an hour. It's something to watch. It's something to think about. And there's not much you can do. I mean, I know that CW and a lot of people have canceled their camping plans for Saturday night in the highlands of New England, which I think is a good idea because that would be a very scary event to wake up and not know what to do. It only lasts about 15 or 20 minutes in any one spot. Oh, and then there we get to 2 o'clock on Sunday. It's pretty much all gone at that point. But you see the 582 number there on the left. That is the 100-degree air coming at us from the west. And we are going to have our heat warnings going up here probably by Sunday afternoon. Temperature is going to rebound into the 90s. So that thunderstorm complex is not on a cold front with nice, dry, cooler air coming in on the backside of it. It's actually a wave on a warm front, and we'll call it a hot front. And record heat is going to follow that MCC into New England early next week. And there's the Euro meteogram for Boston showing the blue number, the blue line. The dew point number is going down today, and the wind gusting past 40 today. And then tomorrow in the 80s, the dew point's still nice. The dew point comes up tomorrow night, and then it's Sunday. The wind's gusting 40 to 45 again in Boston on Sunday. And there'll be, like I said, extreme gusts, especially in some of the hills, if that thing sticks together. And then Monday does not show a heat wave in Boston. It shows temperatures in the 80s in Boston with a light onshore wind. But New England is going to be hot on Monday. Most of us away from the coast, 95 to 100 on Monday. And then the wind comes around in Boston is 100 degrees on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, dramatic wind shift, almost a backdoor front. And it may cool off on Wednesday. That's still a tough call. So let's go to... Well, and then after that, it shows more comfortable air coming in Thursday, Friday, and next weekend is also a tough call. The heat's not going to go far, but it may go just south of New England, which would mean we have the threat for those mesoscale convective complexes almost every day. And then let's go to the Euro and try and look at that and see what we see. There's our low in the upper right pulling out. And notice the 540 line is up there, and it's just amazing how cold it is in parts of Canada and how hot it is in the United States. And that just ups the ante for these thunderstorms. And there's now tomorrow with that storm forming over Minnesota, and the Euro has been quite consistent, but now it brings it a little farther north than it did yesterday, across central Ontario and into northwestern Maine. So it's such a moving target. Some of the other guidance has that coming into Vermont first thing Sunday morning, and then that thunderstorm complex is going to decay, and we are left in the wake of hot wind on Sunday with temperatures back into the 90s, dew point near 70. And then we are going to be in the heat on Monday, the thickness 582. More thunderstorms forming on the northern edge of the heat. A winter storm warning in Montana for a foot of snow. Did I already talk about that? Yeah, I think I did. So that battle between the cold in Canada and the extreme heat in the United States will fire thunderstorms up each afternoon, mostly to our north on Tuesday, but then on Wednesday they're coming right back into New England, sort of the heat getting pushed south by a high-pressure system in Ontario, and it looks like a potent high. Again, the 540 is showing up there in northern Quebec, and so that's going to be nice cooling air for parts of Maine and eastern Massachusetts, but Connecticut into New York City may stay hot with thunderstorms off and on each day, Thursday into Friday into Saturday, and now this goes all the way out to Sunday. What's that, June 29th? I don't even remember what it looked like at that point, but there's a front right over New England with a threat for sun and storms next weekend, but certainly a more summer-like pattern. Some of the guidance says that we're going to get stuck in colder air with the GFS is very pessimistic that we're going to end up chilly and wet for the second half of next week as the colder air comes south. So it's all a very low confidence forecast, starting with tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, really, especially Sunday. And then there's no doubt about the heat that's going to be here for 3 days for early next week. All right, so everything is in flux. I hope you heard me. I had my back to the wind for that whole thing because it's really ramping up here. T-Rex is being all patient. And yesterday, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, why is the traffic so mixed up? Why are they not picking up the rubbish? And why were they not working down here at the Big Dig? And most of us forgot that yesterday was a federal holiday. So, it looks like Luciano is at the wheel this morning. I think that's Luciano. And things are changing. See that water there he's about to come over? That's still water coming out of the side of the hill from the rains of earlier in the month. The rain yesterday was so hit or miss, and most of it missed. So those thunderstorms really fell apart yesterday across New England. I'll talk about that in the end more. And a beautiful sunset. And Billy Haro at Pettix. How'd you have your phone with you at Pettix? What boat were you on? I got this sunset shot for us. Thank you, Billy, for sharing. I love the content. Thanks, everybody, for the content. Captain Peacock for the images of the links. See that wet spot right there? So not a lot of rain. You want to water your garden. You have a garden. I got to weed mine. All right. Here's the and more from yesterday. I'm going to close the windows and shut the doors, and AC goes on. It's 77 inside the house now. Let's see if we can't keep it around 76 for a while. Come on, turn on. 20 minutes it says. We've got an old house and it's not easy to keep it cool. But I'm do a preemptive strike. Oh man, preemptive strike. We want to stay comfortable, don't we? It's gonna be really sticky, so it's for the comfort of all of us. And so we can sleep well tonight and then we can open the windows tomorrow with the wind, much less humid tomorrow. So just first day. I think Boston is 90 degrees today. So first day of 90, first day of air conditioning. Not even 9 o'clock, but any excuse to come outside when there's a colorful, not tanker, but barge going by, escorted by Justice and pushed by whatever your name is. And the clouds have been coming and going here, so the air is rich with moisture, and Steve has found his spot in the shade. It's a hot one. What do you say we go inside? We'll get the AC going. It's about 77 indoors. Already 77 outdoors, but it's the humidity. One of the reasons you turn on the air conditioner is to make it less humid. Jerry getting it done on the hottest day of the year. Go. Gotta mow. We are green around here. Ground is still wet from the rain of the last couple weeks. So maybe we can absorb a couple of heat waves without the lawn burning out. We'll see. Old Derby Animal Hospital, Hingham. Feels like about 90. Rick's no worse for the wear. Got his rabies certificate. We're all good. Still only 89 on the dashboard thermometer. Took 3 cycles to get to this red light. Usually takes like 1 or a half. And same thing up on Derby Street. This is Route 3A. More of us are on the road at midday today than any day that I can recall in some time. Can't all be heading toward the beach, right? I mean, the beach is in that direction. When we came out this way, it was backed up right through this light. Cooking. So all our barrels are out. Whole neighborhood. Thursday is usually the day we get a pickup, brush included, but I think we all forgot that June 19th is now a federal holiday. That may explain all that traffic. Roads are packed, the beach is packed. Let's go down, look at the beach. Not a cloud in the sky over Boston. That's the same reason there are no workers today. I thought maybe they were letting the cement set up, but there's always other things to do. So day off, and there's the beach. A lot better view from our yard now, isn't there? Thanks to the big dig. Low tide right now. Suddenly summer, for real this time. Enough breeze for sailing. And the wind is just starting to get picked up. I haven't looked at the radar yet, but thunderstorm activity wasn't expected to develop for another little while. I'm not expecting a thunderstorm here. And it's 1:20. I didn't show the thermometer. 86 degrees. And T-Rex loving the heat. Interesting, 2 o'clock, most of the severe storms are off west and south of New England, and New England was the first one to get the severe storm watch. It went into effect a couple of hours ago, and Logan Airport did hit 90 degrees at about 1:30, now up to 91. And though this thermometer is still in the shade, the deck is radiating some heat. It says 100 at my house. I don't think it's 100, but I'm not going out in the tar and bare feet this afternoon. Got a meeting at 3:30 and then go out as it starts to cool off again. Back down to the 80s at sunset, no doubt. 4:15 update. I'm just taking a break from my meeting to look at this. Not very organized in New England. A couple of little cells with severe warnings in Vermont. And once again, flash flooding in Pennsylvania. I think this is about the 7th day in a row with flash flooding in Pennsylvania. And then there's the real squall line coming into Chesapeake Bay. And we do have some cumulus starting to form out there. So we'll be monitoring. Back to the meeting. And it's 5:45. It's cooling off a little bit, T-Rex. Just a tiny bit. Tops of the thunderstorms that went into New York City just kind of blew apart. And there's the top of one going by. And there's a tanker going by. A little yacht cutting on the inside of it. So there are scattered thunderstorms. Just falling apart here with the temperature in Boston went from 91 to 88 when the wind came around a little bit more from the south. And we get some cellular thunderstorms. Just talked to Bob Copeland in Littleton, New Hampshire. I said, you got a severe thunderstorm watch going on up there. They expanded it eastward, but the storms are not really holding together. It's fascinating, isn't it? Look at that. Size, scale, everything. Size and scale. Bob Copeland was my mentor when I was a a young man. I had his weather calendars, and now I just wished him a happy 93rd birthday. Cope. And he and Doug Kent work together. He and Don Kent, Doug's dad. And this is where the Kents raised their family, and Bob Copeland lived very close to the station over there, WBZ. They worked together originally on WBZ before Cope went to Channel 5. And that's all, right? Over there would be Channel 5, and over there would be WBZ. And there goes tanker, some fishermen. First 90-degree day in Boston. Should be a really interesting time lapse. Thunderstorm threat continues, not only today, but for days and days going forward. Steve saw that T-Rex went out, so he wants to go out too. Steve doesn't have quite the same energy running out as T-Rex, but he knows after 5 we all get to go out in the backyard together. So the sun is getting on this thermometer now. It says 92. I put Steve out and I wondered where Rex went, and Rex said, I'm coming back up and sitting in the sun. Is it warm enough? You want to go back in? Long day, huh? You had to go to the doctor. And in conclusion, Alpha Dog T-Rex with the cooling sunset is taking us for a walk. We'll stop here, but we're going down to the sunset, beyond the wires, where we can hear the sounds of waves and piano music and a couple of time lapse. What is it, Rex? Lots of critters in there. I know it. There's a fawn in there somewhere. I'd love to find the fawn, but right now let's go find the sunset. Why are you taking a right? Oh, no. But we're in the neighborhood. Let's go. A little farther down. I'm glad that we don't all have the same vehicle as that all the time going by. But that was respectful. Are we there, Rex? Is this where we're going? Let's see how far we can go. It's not bad. What about here, Rex? Just play it out. Let's try that again. And play it out with a couple of time lapse from the Fore River and the Bass River. A random lily on the side of a beautiful hill. Talk to you tomorrow.